our Low Country report, a 93-year-old Hilton Head Island woman is in a legal fight to keep land that has been in her family since the Civil War. As News 3's Andrew Davis tells us, she is asking for the public's help in this battle, not just for herself, but for her family and many other families on the island.
I can guarantee you she never thought that at 93 years old she'd be in a legal fight.
No, I didn't.
That's exactly what Josephine Wright now faces, all because she says Hilton Head developers want her family land for their condos.
It's completely in her name. She's been paying taxes on it for the last 30 years. She had no problem with nobody said anything about it being an error or it was a problem with this property until this developing company decided that they wanted to acquire her land.
The Jonesville Road property has been connected to Wright's family since the Civil War. But Bailey Point developers have filed a lawsuit against the 93-year-old, saying they actually own part of her property and they want it back.
Our effort is to make sure that we keep this property. It's historical. It goes back to the Civil War, and it's been in the family since that time.
Bailey Point says Wright is trespassing, pointing to 3 encroachments and believing in their deeds, one of which moves the property line all the way back to her back porch, 22 feet away from the road they already built.
We sent a letter 2 weeks ago simply asking the developer to communicate, simply asking the developer to speak to us, to speak to her, so we can have a common conversation about how do we move forward. And I think more disrespectful than a no is a non-response.
Former State Representative Bakari Sellers is now asking other people to call the developer, to call lawmakers to help Wright keep her property for her family now and for future generations.
We're very big on generational wealth or trying to accrue it. When you talk about poverty in our communities, it's because we don't have access to land, and when we do, people want to take it away. And there are a lot of people to pick on, right, I think. But pick on me. Don't pick on a 93-year-old woman who's lived her entire life doing nothing wrong.
The developer, Bailey Point, is letting the legal filings do their talking right now, saying they already own this property and they have the deeds to prove it. There is that legal fight going on, and if you'd like to help through the GoFundMe for Josephine Wright, you can just go to our website, WSAV.com, for details. Andrew Davis, WSAV News 3 on your side.
How you doing? This is Nathaniel Swopes, and Swopes said it, and the video you just watched again was about 93-year-old Josephine Wright fighting for her land in Hilton Head, South Carolina. And recently, Kyrie Irving donated $40,000 to her GoFundMe, and Tyler Perry shared the information about her GoFundMe and about her story on his Instagram. I believe the GoFundMe is now up to $260,000, and it's just a great thing that Kyrie Irving has done and that Tyler Perry has done, and that a lot of African Americans in the South Carolina area and a lot of high-powered and high-value South Americans have shared their story and decided to donate. This is, a touching story because I've seen situations like this where developers have built around a lot of people who own acres and a lot of land, and they've offered them like millions of dollars. But they've only offered Josephine Wright about $39,000 to get her land. And now they're bringing up deeds that she only owns half of her land that she has. So hopefully she has, I'm pretty sure she does have the deeds to kind of tell them what is her land, what's not. They've already built a road in front of her house. And this is, kind of a sense of bullying, where they only offer her a little bit of money. Even though the town approved of the apartment complex to be built, I'm pretty sure they only offered, like I said, they offered Josephine only $40,000, but they probably going to be getting millions and millions of dollars for this land. And like I said before, we've seen kind of funny memes where like these developers build around people's land, but they're offering millions of dollars and only offer her, a few thousands. And one of the toughest things about America is that even after you pay your house off, you still have to pay taxes each and every year on the land. And if you miss several payments, somebody can go downtown, fill out paperwork that you haven't paid your taxes, and they can slowly own your house or auction for your house. There's a house down the street from me. Somebody has missed, I think, a year of now, or 3 years of paying their taxes, and now the house is going to go up for auction to be sold. And one of the best things about when I watch all the repatriation to Africa is a lot of places in Africa they don't have taxes like this to where once you pay off the house and the land, you own it. So in a sense, in America, it kind of seems like you really never own, like it seems like you really never own the land, because you're always going to pay taxes on the land. Or let's say you don't pay the taxes, or you pass away and your children decide not to pay the taxes, or whoever you leave the house to decide not to pay the taxes. The house just goes away. You know what I'm saying? And that's kind of one of the things we as Black Americans or as Americans um, talk about how it's difficult to keep a house and keep a house for generational wealth. And one of the things that the lawyer said that was very deep is that it's very hard for African Americans to keep land and build generational wealth. And then this is one of the reasons even hard, because then when we do have land, we get bullied out of the land. They come up with these things where they come up with things that even change laws to take our houses. So this is, that was a very deep saying in what he said, and how sometimes a lot of older African Americans are bullied out of their land. Her husband passed away in 1998. He was a lawyer, so it's unfortunate he passed away. He's been gone now, I believe 15 years, and for him to be gone so long, if he was still alive today, he could have definitely helped with this. She wouldn't have had to hire a lawyer. Her husband being a former lawyer, he would have had this already in place. So it's kind of hard, once the husband passed away. And even though she does have a lot of children, a lot of grandchildren, but, a lot of times as Black Americans, we don't have the right legal team to fight our battles. And it's a beautiful thing, because I was just watching Dr. Umar on a show, to where he said it was a shame that African Americans let HBCU in Virginia go. That now the Chinese own it. I think they bought it for $2 million, and nobody stepped up and bought it. And a lot of times, a lot of these things don't make the news, or it only makes local news, and it's not really circulated and through the media. And one of the great things about social media now, things can catch like wildfire. So the fact that this story got out, and the fact that Tyler Perry put it on his Instagram, is spread like wildfire. And now a lot of African Americans step up and help, and give her the money for these legal fees, because the legal fees can really add up. Like I said, her GoFundMe is already up to almost $300,000. Kyrie, Irving, they donated $40,000. But again, this could be hard because, like I said, where her husband being passed away, let's say this story really never got out to national news. Who's to say she would have the money, or her family would have the money to pay for the lawyer, and they just would have to deal with the corporation taking half of her land? And who's to say they wouldn't take the rest, to say, look, we have another deed saying we actually own all of your land. You know what I'm saying? Or force her to sell. If they take some of the land, they're like, look, we need this. We need to build another road because we need to have access for this, or we need to have access to bring things in, or we need to have access for fire trucks to get in, and just in case there's a fire. So we just never know. And again, it's in Hilton Head, South Carolina. And I believe that Hilton Head, South Carolina is reference to being Gullah Gullah Island from the famous Gullah Gullah show. I'm not for sure, but it said that, the people of the Gullah people were in this island, the Hilton Head Island, so I'm not for sure. But Kyrie Irving has been doing an amazing job. We see him go through so much, and he lost the shoe deal. He was suspended a little bit for the league for sharing a documentary on Twitter, wearing a hoodie. I believe it had about the documentary as well. Or no, I think it had about the richest man in Africa and the world on it. So he was suspended, lost his shoe deal, but he also recently signed a shoe deal with a famous Chinese brand. And he also helped pay fees for another young lady to stay in college. So Kyrie Irving has been doing an amazing job as a philanthropist. I believe that's the word. So sorry if I messed up the word, but he's been doing an amazing job. I hope that the NBA notices. He should definitely win an award for everything he's been doing in the community, all community, the Black community especially. So just thankful to Tyler Perry and Kyrie Irving from stepping up to helping this young this beautiful African-American woman. and I hope she wins the battle and gets all of her land, and not just part of her land. And it's it's definitely a shame, because a lot of, like, here in America, African Americans, we just want a piece of, what I'm saying, we just want a piece of our land. We just want our 40 acres and a mule, and we just want to be we just want to be in peace. You know what I'm saying? And a lot of times when you watch all this stuff about what African Americans have went through, and then you get all this stuff about going back to Africa, and in a sense they call us the lost people, and it's like even in America, they still don't want to see it. And when we do get a piece of land and we are in our own peace, they still come bother us trying to take it. You know what I'm saying? And then you got African Americans going to Africa trying to buy land, and now people are jipping them out of land in Africa. So it's like, what do we do and where do we go? You know what I'm saying? So how do we get our peace? You know what I'm saying? Again, I hope Josephine Wright wins her case. God bless you, Tyler Perry. God bless you, Kyrie Irving. I'm glad things are going better for you. Congratulations on the shoe deal. Thank you for donating to this, beautiful black woman. For everybody else, please donate to her GoFundMe. I'm gonna put a link to her GoFundMe and a link to the article in the description of this video. So again, God bless, and I hope she wins the case. This is Nathaniel Swopes of Swope Center signing out. You all have a good one.